Have you ever chatted with an AI and just been amazed by how smart it sounds? It's incredible, right? Well, today we're diving into why that is and why, according to author Rishi Khullar, that feeling of awe might be hiding a really serious danger that we all need to get a handle on. Okay, let's get right into it. It all boils down to this one core idea from Khullar. I mean, if you've used any of these tools, you know exactly what he's talking about. The answers are just so smooth. They're balanced, they're professional, they feel intelligent because the language is just so good. And that, right there, is the big question for this whole explainer. Does sounding smart actually mean you're wise? Are we mixing up a mastery of language with a mastery of truth? That's the critical difference we really need to dig into. So why do we fall for this so easily? Well, Kohler points out that as humans, we're basically hardwired to trust confidence and clear communication. When an answer sounds smooth and coherent, our brain just kind of assumes it's well-reasoned. The AI's fluency is tapping directly into that psychological shortcut. And here is the quiet part that we don't always think about. These models, they aren't trained to be truthful. They're not trained to be rational. Their one and only goal is to perfectly mirror the language patterns they've seen. And that means they learn to repeat whatever shows up most often online. And this is where the real problem starts to kick in. If an AI is just trained to mirror what's most frequent, then we have to ask, what's its teacher like? In this case, it's the internet. And when it comes to teaching wisdom, the internet can be a pretty terrible teacher. Let's look at why. So this comparison just lays it out so clearly. On one side, you've got human judgment. Ideally, right, we're trying to weigh evidence and find the truth. But on the other side, you have LLM training, which learns simply by counting how often something appears and how popular it is. They're playing two completely different games. And this is a perfect illustration of what the AI is learning from. The internet rewards being fast, not being accurate. It rewards sounding confident, not having actual insight. It's all about going viral, not about getting the nuance right. An AI trained in that environment isn't becoming a philosopher. It's becoming an expert at what gets clicks and shares. Khullar has this fantastic metaphor for this. He calls it a high-resolution echo. It's a perfect, polished reflection of our collective opinions, our biases, our blind spots. It isn't generating truth, it's just echoing back what we've already said, but, with much better grammar. So we have this perfect echo. What's the big deal? Well, what happens when we start treating that echo like it's an expert? The real danger shows up when we turn to this mirror for answers to our biggest, most important questions. And we do this instinctively, right? We ask these deep, nuanced questions. We're looking for guidance, for clarity, for actual judgment. We start treating the AI less like a search engine and more like an oracle. And that's a huge misunderstanding of what the tool actually is. What we're getting back isn't reasoning. It's what Khullar calls statistical consensus. The AI is just doing the math. It's calculating the most probable, middle-of-the-road answer based on how often it's seen certain arguments online. It's just consensus wearing the mask of judgment. And the consequences of this are massive. It means that popular ideas can easily crush correct ones. Safe, easy explanations get chosen over honest, difficult ones. And comfortable stories win out over uncomfortable facts. What you end up with is well-spoken mediocrity, but at a global scale. So what do we do about all this? Look, the goal isn't to just throw these incredible tools away. It's about learning to use them wisely. And luckily, Khullar gives us a really practical toolkit for how to do exactly that. Let's break it down. First things first, we have to know the tool's limits. LLMs are amazing for things like summarizing a long article or mapping out common arguments on a topic, but they are completely unreliable when you need them to judge what's true, weigh what's actually important to us as humans, or evaluate real-world consequences. Knowing that difference, that's everything. Okay, so here are 4 practical steps you can use every single time. 1, demand evidence. Don't just accept a smooth conclusion, ask for the data, for the outcomes that back it up. 2, separate the noise from the signal. Get good at telling the difference between what's said often and what actually matters. 3, and this one is so crucial, bring your own data, your own research, your own life experience. Use that to pressure test what the AI is telling you. And finally, number 4, always, and I mean always, treat AI output as a first draft of an opinion, never the final word. All of this brings us to the ultimate test this technology is giving us. And it's not really about the machine's intelligence. It's about our own. It's a battle of the mind versus the mirror. And this is maybe the most important thing to take away from Khullar's work. AI is not here to replace our ability to think critically. That's not its purpose. It tests it. Every single time we use it, we are being challenged. Are we just going to accept the pretty, polished echo? Or are we going to engage our own minds to weigh the evidence, consider the consequences, and search for the truth? And we'll end on this powerful final thought from Rishi Khullar. The real danger here isn't some science fiction evil robot. It's much quieter, much more subtle than that. It's the risk that we, as humans, simply forget the difference between a reflection and a real thinking mind. The question is, can we learn to tell the difference?